I can't believe he's not here.
I told you this was a mistake.
Thought for 31S. He froze the trust fund after the wedding snub. Then Groom's father called. I froze mid-step in the hallway, my keys still dangling from my hand, when I heard Sarah's laugh, that low, intimate chuckle she used to save just for me. But this time, it wasn't for me. She was on the phone in our bedroom, door ajar, her voice hushed but laced with a flotation that hit me like a gut punch. "Oh, stop it. You know I can't right now," she murmured, followed by a playful gasp. The call ended abruptly as she must have heard me, and when I pushed the door open, she was shoving her phone under the pillow, her cheeks flushed like she'd been caught in something far more damning than a chat with a friend. "Hey, honey," she said, too brightly. "You're home early." It was 3 days before our daughter Emily's wedding, and that laugh haunted me like a ghost I couldn't yet name. We'd been married for 22 years, Sarah and I. She was the one who pulled me out of the wreckage after my first divorce, the one who made our blended family feel whole. Emily adored her stepmom, and I'd set up a generous trust fund for her and her fiancé, Tom, a wedding gift to ensure they started life without the financial shadows that had plagued my early years. I built my tech firm from nothing, and that fund was my way of saying, "I've got you." But as the wedding approached, something felt off. Sarah was distant, her smiles forced, her touches fleeting. I'd chalk it up to stress. Planning a wedding for 200 guests wasn't easy, but that phone call planted a seed of doubt that grew roots overnight. The rehearsals were a blur of champagne toasts and awkward family dynamics. Tom's father, Richard Reynolds, was there, of course, a silver fox of a man, widowed for a decade, with that effortless charm that made everyone laugh a little too hard at his jokes. He clapped me on the back during the dinner, his grip firm. "You're a lucky man, Alex. Sarah's a gem." I nodded, but caught the way his eyes lingered on her across the room, how she averted her gaze just a second too late. Denial wrapped around me like a warm blanket. It had to be nothing. That night, in bed, I reached for her, but she turned away, mumbling about a headache. "Tomorrow's a big day," she said. Her voice was flat, empty. I lay there staring at the ceiling, suspicion whispering that maybe the headache was an excuse, that maybe her mind was elsewhere, with someone else. Wedding day dawned bright and merciless. Emily was radiant in her lace gown, Tom beaming like he'd won the lottery. But Sarah. She showed up late to the ceremony, her makeup impeccable but her eyes red-rimmed, as if she'd been crying or arguing. During the vows, she sat rigid beside me, her hand cold in mine. When it came time for the family photos, she excused herself abruptly. "I need a moment," she whispered, slipping away toward the venue's garden. I followed after a beat, my heart pounding. There, under the wisteria arch, I saw her, phone pressed to her ear again, voice low and urgent. "Not now, Richard. Please." My world tilted. Richard. As in Tom's father. I backed away before she saw me, denial cracking like thin ice. It couldn't be. Not her. Not with him. The reception was torture. Laughter echoed around us, clinking glasses and first dances, but I moved through it like a shadow. Sarah returned, all smiles, but I watched her now, really watched. The way she avoided Richard's table, the subtle glances they exchanged when they thought no one was looking. Emily pulled us onto the dance floor for a family spin, but Sarah's steps were mechanical, her laugh brittle. "What's wrong?" I asked under my breath. She shook her head. "Nothing, Alex. Just tired." But her eyes darted to Richard, who was nursing a scotch alone, his face etched with something like regret. By the end of the night, as Emily and Tom drove off in a shower of rice, Sarah pleaded exhaustion and headed home early. I stayed behind, nursing a drink, the pieces clicking into place like a puzzle I didn't want to solve. That night, suspicion turned to action. While Sarah slept, or pretended to, I grabbed her phone from the nightstand. The passcode was our anniversary. Trust had always been our foundation. Or so I thought. Texts from R lit up the screen. "Miss you already. Can't stop thinking about last week. When can we meet?" My stomach churned as I scrolled back months, secret rendezvous in hotel rooms, whispered promises of a future without me. Photos, too, Sarah in lingerie I'd never seen, Richard's arm around her waist at some conference I'd skipped. Heartbreak slammed into me like a wave, drowning the denial. How long? Why him? Anger simmered beneath the pain, anger at her lies, at his betrayal of our family's new bond. Emily's wedding, meant to unite us, had been a stage for their deceit. The next morning, over coffee, I confronted her. Who's Richard to you, really? Her cup clattered to the table, coffee spilling like the truth she couldn't contain. Tears came first, then excuses. It just happened, Alex. You were always working. He listened. Listened. I'd built our life brick by brick, and this was my reward? The collapse of trust was seismic, everything we'd shared felt tainted. It's over, she sobbed. I ended it before the wedding. But the text said otherwise, plans for after the honeymoon. I walked out, the door slamming like a finality. In my office that afternoon, fury guided my hands. The trust fund, $500,000 for Emily and Tom, to buy a home, start a family. But Tom was Richard's son. Was the marriage even real, or part of some scheme? Paranoia gripped me, but the pain was raw. I called my lawyer. Freeze it. All of it. No access until I sorted this mess. It felt petty, vengeful, but it was the only control I had left. Emily would understand someday. Or maybe she wouldn't. The snub at the wedding, Sarah's absence from photos, her emotional withdrawal, had been the crack that revealed the rot. Then the phone rang. Richard's name on the caller ID. My pulse thundered as I answered. Alex, he said, voice gravelly with desperation. We need to talk. About Sarah and the fund. I laughed, bitter and broken. You think this is about money? You stole my wife, poisoned my daughter's day. Silence stretched, then his confession tumbled out. It was a mistake. But freezing the fund? That's hurting the kids. The kids. As if he cared. Anger peaked, then ebbed into hollow sorrow. You destroyed everything, I said, hanging up. In the quiet aftermath, I sat alone, the house echoing with ghosts of laughter long gone. Heartbreak lingered, a dull ache, but so did a spark of resolve. I'd rebuild, for Emily, for myself. Trust might be frozen, shattered even, but life thawed eventually. As I watched the sunset, I wondered if forgiveness was possible, or if some betrayals scarred too deep. The call from Richard. It was the final nail, but also the push toward freedom. And in that reflection, I found a fragile peace.